Hi everyone, welcome to the first ever episode of the 30-day challenge series. Today we're talking about braking on the racetrack, how you should do it, if you should brake into the corner, whether you should use only the front brake or maybe you need the rear brake as well. We'll cover it right now and let's start just going straight to the point. I will show you the video from like a few days ago. And you probably think that it was me using the rear brake and that's why the rear wheel got locked and that's how it ended. And that's not how it is. I wanted to show it to you to say that for the 600 and less capacity I never actually use the rear brake at all because it's not needed. Here in this example you saw me getting from the 6th to the 2nd gear and loading the front wheel a lot by the heavy braking with the front brake. That's why the rear goes, wobbling, sliding, and I even use my hip to point it with the back wider than the front, so that the bike is just starting to point to the apex. That way I'm just turning in quickly. That's called baking it in. But you don't need to use it at all. You don't need to use your rear brake at all on a 600. If you are on a liter bike, then I made a video about that already. You can do you can use the rear brake as a helper to get the bike squatted before heavy braking with the front brakes, as an anti-wheelie and so on. You don't really need to use it on the smaller capacity bikes because they are less powerful. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it at all on any bike, and it's fine. It's just I wanted to clarify things that locking your rear wheel is generally very dangerous. Even if I do it the way I showed you in the video right now, you should not do it really, because it takes a lot of practice. You need to have the feeling, because it's very easy to crash very badly because of doing that. So that's more a fun factor even for me than real effect, as as a pro racers do. They do it more for the outcome. I do it more for fun, but that's how it is. That's just backing the bike in with the rear, and you don't have to worry about that. Now let's just read one comment of the guy. Let me show it to you. Here it is. He wrote that he struggles a bit when braking into the corners, especially the first phase, meaning the moment just before braking, how you prepare your body for corner entry, how to safely change position into the braking and turning phase. And there some people say that you should keep away your body from the tank. Some say that you should be glued to the tank, and that you shouldn't pressure at all that on your hands, and how else can you support your body, etc. Now I won't be talking about the foot position in this video because it will be too long, but let's answer those questions. First of all, about being closer or further to the tank. If you are a MotoGP rider with 1.8 G-forces when braking hard, then it's important to have your body to the back the same as you accelerate, and block yourself by going to the turn. For example, if you want to turn right, the next turn is, so when doing the heavy braking before that turn, you move your body to the right. When rolling off the throttle, you get your ass to the right side, you lock yourself with the outside leg, and that's how you approach the turn, and you can brake harder because your body is more to the rear, so the rear is more planted. It will take more for it to lose traction and go up. For our level, so normal riding, I prefer to either roll off the throttle, get to the tank, squeeze it, and go into the turn, and then along with the releasing the brakes, we'll talk about it, along with releasing the brakes, get my position done, so moving my ass to the side. Or either I do it similarly to the GP, but I roll off the throttle, I move my body to the front, so I'm not keeping it anyway to the rear. It's not necessary at our level and our braking pressures. I move it to the tank. I first go with my hip, with my ass to the side, and then I turn. So you can do both ways, either get your ass to the side of the saddle before the turn or in the turn, as you prefer, is not that important. What's important is that this braking should be like controlled by you. So if you ever feel that you're braking too hard and you don't have the time to make the actual turn, and that you're missing the apex often, then it means you should brake earlier or less. You use less of the brake pressure to be able to point the bike where you want. If you accelerate really hard, brake really hard, the front slams all the way to the ground, and you don't have time and cannot make the bike turn, lean and turn, then it's meaningless, and that's what you should concentrate about, not really what to do first, if you should move your ass or if you shouldn't move it. As I said, I go all the way to the tank, I squeeze it, and I either get to the side before the turn or in the turn when moving from heavy braking phase into the turn. So I hope this answers your question. About the second question that you asked, I use my hands, and you also should use your hands when heavy braking. So there is no way, guys, that you will be doing heavy brakings on the front lines without using your hands. I tried that on Silesia Ring one time, and my spine started hurting after a few brakings. So what you should do is, you must use your hands when heavy braking to the turn, but when you're sure to release the brakes, to release your hands, to make them loose before you actually start diving into the turn. Yeah, so the first braking phase, the heavy braking phase, when you're in the straight line, brake hard, keep it on your hands as well, squeeze your legs to the tank, so to support your lower body, and to support your upper body, don't worry, just do it on your hands. But when you're already going into the turn, remember to get your hands loose, because that's very important. That's the most important thing you need to do. You cannot start turning with your hands anchored on the steering wheel, because on the steering bars, because on the handlebars, because you will crash because of that. You need to let the bike steer. You have to loosen your hands on the handlebars so it can go to the side without crashing, without cutting the front. Okay, so what else? I think I answered all the questions, and now straight to the onboards, because I have two of them to show you. And okay, maybe let's start with this one first, this picture. What's here is that we should use try braking. I will explain it to you as soon as possible in just a few seconds. So first of all, if you are in a moment of your in a level of your riding where you are riding with gas all the way through the whole turn, then you should go level up with braking into the turn. Why is it important? Because when you accelerate here and brake into the turn, the bike drops the front, it loads the front, and it's actually shorter. The wheelbase gets shorter. The front wheel is the front of the bike is shorter, so it turns much better and it has traction on the front wheel. What it means is that the bike is turning in the best way possible when the geometry is optimal, and the geometry is optimal when the bike is on the brakes. So when you approach the turn and brake while turning, the bike will be the best in turning as it can. And as you lean the bike to the turn with that brakes, you start releasing them, and the forces that work on the bike, they will keep the bike planted, so the front won't go back, bounce up. It will stay planted to the ground through the corner, and that way you'll have much more traction on your front wheel, and because of the optimal geometry, the bike will just turn better. And if you are in the gas in that moment, you do the exact opposite. So the bike has less traction on the front wheel, it's actually longer, and it doesn't want to turn as good. So that's why we should brake into the corner to make it safer. And first of all, what I draw right here is that here we have the hard braking phase, and here we loosen as we lean the bike, we loosen the front brakes, as here it's 0 and we start accelerating here with this green line. And what I wanted to explain further is that the more experience you have, the more you will feel that each each situation, each corner is different, and that you can bring this heavy braking phase into the corner more. So this doesn't have to end right here. You can lean actually with this heavy braking, and then you can release the brake, and it doesn't have to be here. There are corners like first corner in Pannonia Ring where you stop braking right here and you go on the gas already right here to make the turn. And by going on the gas, the bike picks up, so it's the clearance is better, and that way you won't crash right here because of scrubbing your pegs to the ground. So it's not always the same thing. It differs by the turn. Those lines I draw right here are only for your information, to inform you that you should be accelerating more to carry more speed into the corner. And that way you can start losing that speed by braking, making the bike into the optimal geometry and helping it turn much better while being safer, because still, first of all, you have more traction, you have more control because of that brakes. You can tighten the turn or make it wider if you need. But actually, if you're going on the gas right here, because you are slow and you don't need to brake into the corner, that's really a very bad moment, because you end up going like that, increasing the lean angle and going bad line. That's really dangerous. I won't be talking about what's the different lines you can take and which is the best one or optimal one. But to put it simple, you should use the whole racetrack's width, and you should learn to instead of braking like braking here and going without the brakes to the corner, you should learn that you should brake later, or at least carry more speed on the straight before the turn, and then lose this speed by braking into the corner. That's called trail braking. I don't want to spend too much time explaining things in this video, not to make it like hour long. Just type trail braking inside Google or YouTube if you want to know more. But if you are in the situation where you are on the gas right here, then definitely you should go into the second level of advancement, which is braking to the corners. That's really important. And remember what I said, those lines are not definitive. Sometimes you end up braking here and you start accelerating from here. Sometimes you end up braking the heavy braking phase here and you loosen your arms and you go with less brakes. Sometimes you can do it like here after already lying the bike a little bit, and changing the position is totally up to you when you do it, as long as you can always do the same. So you've got it under control, you brake in the same spot, you go into the turn into the same spot, and you should always aim to get to the apex, not to end up like here, because that's the worst thing you can do. The best thing is to get to the apex, and that's the thing you should be actually worrying about. And now what else I want to show you in this video is difference between this turn and this turn, because it's a double apex. And what we need to differentiate between those two is that this one is typical double apex. So it's like, you brake, get to here, then start accelerating to get out of the corner. And if you look closely, it's also double apex turn. This one is Slovakia Ring, near the end of the lap. Here is Brno, near the Omega, before the Omega actually. So what's the difference is that for slow people or less advanced, the beginner people, those are two different turns. So you go here, you start accelerating, this is a straight line for you, go like here because it doesn't throw you away as much. You go here and you turn again. But as you get faster, you will understand that you can accelerate here by a lot, and then you actually end up being leaned all the way throughout those two turns, mixing them together like it's one double apex again. But this is where many advanced people are lost. What I mean is that you actually do the right thing in the first phase, so you brake and again, you can brake different way, you can accelerate different way. It depends on your skill, on your experience on your bike and the track and the exact turn. So don't take me by the points where the line gets green or whatever. But what I wanted to tell you is that many of you, like most of you, I can catch you right here. I get closer, I'm getting closer to like most of you riding if we ride together, because you lose the speed here, you accelerate, but you don't really brake right here. You just speed a little bit of, you just accelerate a little bit here, but you're not thinking of braking again right here, so you end up you know, accelerating just a bit, and then you go to the maintenance throttle, or just, you know, being neutral, and you go slowly, you turn again without the brakes, and first of all it's dangerous, and second thing, it's very slow. What I'm doing is I accelerate really hard, I brake once again, because those are two different turns, it's not one turn actually, we just feel like it is. I brake again and get to the second apex better, because I built enough speed, like on the straight line here, I built enough speed right here to be able to brake again, and that's why I make the bike, you know, more optimal in the terms of geometry and because of that I can brake later first of all and accelerate more here, and I can make the turn again. And what I wanted to say is that if you are less advanced rider, you can do it that way, so that you accelerate right here, you straighten the bike totally to the center, 0 degree of lean, you brake again, and you turn. That way you won't ever wash your front wheel, so you don't lose your front, you won't lose your front tire anytime, but you'll be slower because of that. If you are more experienced like me, you can actually, being leaned over, you can roll off and brake again with your front brake without picking up the bike to the 0 degree lean. But it's very, very delicate, and you have to learn how to do it. If you master that thing, you'll be much faster, because many people never reach that level, and this is the place where I catch most of the people. I get to catch you on the track in this spot, because you tend to accelerate right here, you end up accelerating here, you are doing it very lightly, you don't accelerate hard, because you know you have to turn again, because you are in the constant lean. And I accelerate hard, I brake again, and I turn. And as I said, if you are less experienced, pick up the bike to the center and lean it again, braking again. If you are experienced, try applying some brakes when still leaned over. It will be faster in the overall process. And I will show you two onboards of that situation, and that's the first one, that's Slovakia ring, and this is this turn. So a turn where you should, you know, it depends on you, on your ride and so on, but generally we should start accelerating here. So all the way here we should more or less be losing the speed by braking or by not adding the gas at all. So let's see it. I turn, let's see it one more time. I brake hard, that's the hard braking phase, and here you can also use your hands. Don't worry about that, nothing bad will happen. Everyone uses hands in this, and your arms, the whole arms, upper body to stop yourself from flying. Then you turn and start releasing the brakes, and here you should start releasing your hands as well as you start releasing the brakes. And here I'm in the middle, and now I start accelerating, but only just a little bit, not too much. I wait for the bike to turn, I reach the second apex, and only now I start accelerating more. As you can see, it happens when the turn opens up, so when I can see through. So let's see where I will start hard acceleration. Right here, when the bike is, you know, when the turn is open. And now the second thing, so this is this point where we have two right turns that for any advanced rider that is a bit quicker, you can already feel it's like one turn, it's double apex turn, not two turns, but it ends up being like, you know, with this straight right here, you need to know how to brake again, and you will see it now that I'm actually using the brakes the second time. I brake hard, I turn the bike, I start releasing the brakes, I accelerate again. So this one is like a book example of yeah, it was actually this one. A book example that here is the phase when I really stop braking by the apex and start accelerating by it, but it's not always like that. Sometimes you have to accelerate before the apex, before you hit the real apex. And look on that, I accelerate, and I accelerate really hard and further than most of you, or farther I should say in English. Now I brake again, I reach the apex and I accelerate again. And this is the point, as I told you, this is the point where most of you advanced riders are advanced enough to go hard, you know, to feel that you're leaning all the way through both of those turns like it's one turn, but in the same time you're slow in the middle because you're not using the brakes for any way for the second time, either without straightening the bike or with straightening the bike. Most of you don't brake the second time, and look on here. Let's see it one more time. So a lot of acceleration here to have this speed that I will be dropping to the corner. Later braking because of that, because I'm braking into the corner. Acceleration again. Braking, turning. And that's how you do it as even more experienced rider than you are now. So I think I said everything I wanted in this video. If I missed anything, I will add it into the pinned comment. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, if you like this way of me talking to the camera, please let me know in the comments so that I know that I'm doing a good job. If you have any other ideas or follow-up questions to any other ideas for the future videos or any follow-up questions to this video, then please let me know in the comments. I think I said everything I need, and so yeah, it's again 22 minutes long, but I said I will do it in one go, and I did. So I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next one. Bye.